You guys enjoying that cheese? It's unpasteurized.
If the words pink slime mean anything to you, then you know what you're in for. Here are 10 foods you'll never buy again after knowing how they're made. Pringles.
Give me those damn Pringles!
Potato chips reign supreme among salty snacks. There isn't a grocery store, convenience store, or vending machine that doesn't contain the golden brown snack. Seemingly, chips have been around since the dawn of civilization, but in reality, potato chips have only been around for roughly 180 years. The chips' crunch and salty goodness have stood the test of time and are enjoyed by countless snackers around the world. With many different brands on the market, Pringles has managed to stand out from the rest. Their unconventional tube container and curved, uniform shape of the chips have helped the brand carve out a unique identity. However, Pringles potato chips can't really be referred to as potato chips, as there isn't much potato in them at all. You see, Pringles are made with a special set of ingredients that includes rice, corn, and wheat. That's right, those crispy Pringles chips are a slurry of various grains pressed into the iconic curved shape. Okay, that's not fair. There is one ingredient dwelling within Pringles called dehydrated processed potato. So those Pringles do contain some sort of potato-like substance.
Same, but different.
If the idea of your tube of Pringles only containing a bit of a potato-like substance bothers you, then perhaps you can stop before you pop. Beer.
Non-alcoholic beer, yeah.
Cracking open a cold one on a hot day is a glorious experience for many. That golden, sparkling nectar of the gods is a thirst quencher that you can find just about everywhere on the planet. Beer has been with us pretty much since ancient times, and for the most part has stayed relatively the same throughout the years. Most of us are pretty familiar with the ingredients that go into the beer-making process: hops, barley, or other assorted grains, and, of course, fish bladder. What was that? Yes, the secret ingredient. Okay, it's not a fish bladder per se. It's actually something called isinglass, which is extracted from fish bladders.
Yes, I eat the fish.
This substance is used to improve the clarity of beer. It might be hard to take a nice long chug of that brewski now after learning of your beer's deep, dark secret. Whether the ancient beer masters were adding fish bladder extract to the batches of ye old brew isn't known, but likely not. Jelly beans.
The only green bean I ate was a green jelly bean.
Jelly beans may be a little bit of, shall we say, an antiquated candy nowadays, but the sweet and colorful beans still have some die-hard fans. Jelly Belly is probably the most famous brand of jelly beans, with all the unusual flavors and colors. However, the generic version of the candy still manages to get right to the point and quell that nagging sugar craving immediately after popping a few in your mouth. While we're on the subject of jelly beans, have you ever found yourself wondering what the little darlings are made of? More specifically, what gives them that signature shine? Of course, a simple glance can tell you that they're likely a form of solid gelatin, a little food coloring, of course, lots of sugar, and shellac, the same substance that's used for polishing wood floors.
Hey, you think they shellac this table in-house?
But it gets worse. That shellac is actually a secretion from a female lac bug. The lac bug spends its days attached to a tree, sucking its sap and converting it into the sticky shellac. Afterward, a curious and clever individual comes along and uses it to make those jelly beans you were craving. That is, before you found out about this bombshell. First time here? Well, it only takes a second to hit that subscribe button, so go ahead and smash it.
I owe you a thank you.
Ice cream and coffee creamers.
Ice cream sandwiches!
Who invented ice cream? Who knows? Whoever that ingenious individual was, people all over the world owe them a debt of gratitude. Ice cream is enjoyed just about everywhere on the planet. There are versions of the cold, sweet stuff that appear drastically different from the ice cream in this country. However, the basic ingredients are usually pretty much the same. Among the many flavors and varieties of ice cream, none are as popular as vanilla, strawberry, and chocolate. Unfortunately, 2 of the 3 popular flavors have a secret ingredient you may not be aware of called castoreum. What is castoreum? Oh, nothing much, really. You see, castoreum is a natural flavoring agent that gives the aforementioned ice cream the distinct flavoring you've grown to love. Oh, by the way, castoreum is extracted from beaver butts.
What did you say?
So the next time you pick up that carton of ice cream, take a look at the ingredients list for traces of the mighty beaver. That, or you can head over to the frozen yogurt section instead. Whatever works. While we're on the subject of dairy products, coffee creamers are a staple in many homes around the country and are perfect for adding that creamy smoothness without the use of milk or cream. Unfortunately, the creamy smoothness comes from oil, which is what the base ingredient is in most liquid creamers. Oh, and if you're one of the folks that uses the powdered stuff, that product contains sodium aluminosilicate, which is highly flammable. The more you know, right? Canned mushrooms.
Case of mushroom soup for $4.99. Damn it, Costco, you've done it again.
Mushrooms are interesting. They're not plants, but we often consider them to be. They're definitely not meat, but they do have a somewhat meaty texture, at least more so than any vegetable. And if you've ever smelled a rotten mushroom, you may have mistaken it for a piece of rancid meat. Whatever classification you give them, mushrooms are nonetheless delicious. With all the varieties to choose from, the canned variety is ideal to store in the cupboard or pantry. Unfortunately, one of the key ingredients in those canned mushrooms is maggots.
What?
Yes, maggots. To be exact, the FDA permits around 20 maggots per 100 grams of mushrooms. One of the reasons you'll find those maggots in your canned mushrooms is because the little buggers find the fungus irresistible, as if that fact makes things better. Sure, your stomach may be turning now, but it might help to know that those tiny white fly babies are an excellent source of protein. Not helping? Okay, let's move on, shall we? Chewing gum.
Chew, swallow.
Gum has been around for longer than you may have realized. Tracing its roots back to ancient humans' need to chew, humans have been chewing whatever they could get their teeth on right from the start. Eventually, we upgraded to gum bases with various flavors, and the modern-day chewing gum was formed. However, before gum base, chewing gum was made from rubber to give it the signature chew. But chewing gum companies put their thinking caps on and decided to stop using rubber and created the aforementioned gum base. Unfortunately, a gum base's chewiness comes from a substance called lanolin. This substance is excreted from a sheep's skin glands. Yeah, not exactly the ingredient you'd expect to find in your package of juicy fruit, right? Of course, it could be worse, as ancient humans would often chew on large chunks of congealed animal fat.
Ew.
Ugh, gross, right, guys?
Well, maybe this is a 6 of one, half dozen of the other type situation when it comes to chewing gum. Ground beef.
A patty of ground beef, so exquisite.
Versatile is one of the many words you can use to describe ground beef. Used in everything from a good old-fashioned hamburger to meatballs and everything in between, ground beef is a main ingredient in many of our most beloved foods. Unfortunately, that wonderfully versatile meat also comes with a few unwanted guests in the form of bacteria. E. coli is a nasty little bug that hitches a ride on the ground beef train and can cause sickness and even death. Meat processing plants are well aware of the bacterial issues that plague ground beef and have ways of minimizing the pesky bugs. However, the process involves using ammonia to reduce the bacteria, which stays in the ground beef after it's packaged and ready to be purchased. This, of course, would cause most to drop their hamburger after realizing their ground beef has a chemical commonly used as a cleaning product in it.
I think I'm gonna have to pass.
While it's been over 40 years since U.S. health officials gave the go-ahead to use ammonia in the processing of many foods, this regulation caused quite an uproar at the time and continues to be questioned today. Given that fact, the next time you bite into that juicy burger, it may be a slightly different experience than you're used to. Fat-free milk.
Come on, girl, it's fat-free.
Not much beats a cold, refreshing glass of milk, especially if you happen to have a few chocolate chip cookies or a large slice of chocolate cake sitting in front of you. However, many people try to steer clear of the full-fat varieties of milk for health reasons. Fortunately, many manufacturers offer a wide variety of milk products with reduced fat and even fat-free options. Unfortunately, the process that removes the fat from milk also leaves it with a slightly off-putting blue appearance. Fortunately, or unfortunately, depending on your perspective, manufacturers have come up with a solution to these milk blues. A metallic substance called titanium dioxide is added to fat-free milk to give it that classic white appearance that we all know and love.
Where's the blue?
Where's the what?
the blue color.
The idea that your fat-free milk contains metal just to give it the appearance of the full-fat variety may be more off-putting than simply drinking blue-hued milk. We all know milk contains the all-important calcium, but it's safe to assume that one source of metal is more than enough. Bread.
Would you like some bread?
Bread is one of the simplest and likely one of the first foods actually created by humans. Classic and delicious, bread can be found on dinner tables in just about every country on the planet, with various versions and flavors as unique as the countries themselves. Most of us are fairly familiar with the ingredients of the bread we enjoy. There's flour, of course, a little water, some yeast, and maybe a sprinkle of L-cysteine. What the heck is L-cysteine, you ask? Oh, nothing much, just an amino acid used to break down the gluten bonds in bread dough. Oh, and it also comes from human hair. But that's not such a big deal. After all, at some point, most of us have had a little hair in our food. Now, we know it happens more often than we thought. L-cysteine also has a secondary effect of giving bread a longer shelf life.
So, win-win.
Of course, this is only the case with processed bread. So if you frequent a local bakery for your crusty loaf, then you're good. Cheese.
Where's my mac and cheese?
Cheese is a delicious staple found almost all over the world. The versatile dairy product is on or in just about all of our favorite foods, from pizza to lasagna to the classic grilled cheese sandwich. Heck, it's even in the name of one of the most iconic foods in America, the cheeseburger. The gooey, tangy goodness is everywhere, and most of us couldn't be happier about it. Now, we know that the cheese-making process does involve adding bacteria into the mixture, but there is another ingredient that may have you choosing to buy a cheese substitute the next time you're at the grocery store. The cheese we know and love has an ingredient called rennet added to it during production. Rennet is a set of enzymes produced in the stomachs of hoofed mammals. These enzymes are used to curdle the milk, which is one of the key factors in the cheese-making process. The idea of a stomach enzyme being used to make one of your most beloved foods may not sit well with some people, especially if you happen to be vegetarian.
I'm a vegetarian sometimes.
No need to worry too much, however, as this product isn't in every type of cheese, so all things considered, it's not that bad.
Nice.
We've got more. Just tap or click on another video. First time here? Then hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell.